me all for this lecture series on fluid mechanics. So today I will be covering the introduction to mechanical pressure measuring devices. So these are the devices, mechanical devices by which we can measure the pressure. So the difference between the manometer and the mechanical pressure gauge is that manometers are used in pipes, smaller diameter pipes, where the pressure of the liquid flowing through the pipes is going to be identified. Whereas the mechanical gauges are used in case of turbines. So in case of a turbines, you might have seen the diameter of the pipe will be very large. So I can show it in the form of a diagram. So you can just see here. So in case of a small pipes, we are going to connect a manometer. So U-tube manometer or any manometer is used in order to identify the pressure of a pipe, liquid flowing in the pipe. Whereas mechanical gauges are nothing but these are the instruments which are used in case of a turbines. So best example is turbine, where the diameter of the pipe will be very large. As the diameter increases, the pressure of the liquid which is flowing inside the pipe will be very greater. Suppose in this larger diameter pipe, if you fix a manometer, so the manometer is nothing but it is a small tube. So this pressure, the pressure which is available in the pipe will be not beared by the manometer. So therefore, we are not going to use a manometer in case of systems or equipment where the pressure is very large. So manometers are of different types. So there are four types of mechanical gauges are there. One is Burden's tube pressure gauge, diaphragm pressure gauge, bellows pressure gauge, and dead weight pressure gauge. So these are the four types of mechanical pressure measuring devices. Okay, so manometer is different, mechanical gauges are different. Working procedure of a manometer and mechanical gauges. So the final end result is to identify the pressure. Both by using the manometer and mechanical gauges, you are going to identify the pressure. But thing is that the manometers are connected to a smaller diameter pipe where the pressure is less. Whereas in case of a larger diameter pipe where the pressure of the liquid will be very high. So there we are going to use mechanical gauges. So there are four type of mechanical gauges are there. So one is Burden's tube pressure gauge, diaphragm pressure gauge, Billows pressure gauge, and dead weight pressure gauge. So in the examination, they may ask any one type to explain. So now let us discuss one by one. So this is the schematic representation of a Burden's tube pressure gauge. So here you can see, so this represents, the diagram represents the Burden tube pressure gauge. In Burden tube pressure gauge, it consists of a socket. So this particular portion is nothing but it is called as a socket. So this socket to a Burden's. So the surface, the shape of this Burden's tube is a C shape. Okay, and it is made up of a bronze or any elastic steel material. Okay, so it consists of a socket. So this socket is connected to a Burden's tube. So this Burden tube is made up of a bronze or a steel, any elastic material. Okay, so one end of the Burden's tube is connected to a socket, another end is connected, that is nothing but the tip of the Burden's tube is connected to a adjustable link. So this is nothing but the adjustable link, which is again connected to a sector and connected to a pinion arrangement. Okay, so this is nothing but the pinion arrangement, and here you can see there is a scale which is pivoted on this pinion arrangement. Okay, this is nothing but the pivot, and this is the sector which is connected to the pinion arrangement, and this is nothing but the scale, graduation, so by which we can read the readings. So now this is nothing but a scale which is provided. So it starts with a 0. So for example, let me take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay. So likewise, the scale is provided. So here you can see this is nothing but the needle which is going to move on this particular surface. Okay. So you might have seen that. So whenever you are going to like think that this is the tap and you have connected a pipe to a tap. Okay. So when you are going to turn on the tap, you might have seen initially the shape of the pipe will be somewhat like this. As the water flows, it will take a straight position. Have you observed it? Have you observed?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you observed?
Yes, ma'am.
So before allowing the water to flow inside the pipe, the shape of the pipe will be somewhat like this. When you turn on the tap, suddenly what happens as the water flows through the pressure, the pipe take its original position. Okay, same thing happens here. Same thing happens in case of a Burden's tube pressure gauge. As the water passes here, so from this particular socket, the water or any liquid, suppose if you wanted to identify the pressure of any liquid, then you have to allow the liquid to pass through this socket. Okay, so as the liquid passes through this socket and when it passes through the Burden's tube, what happens initially it was a C shape Burden's tube. When the liquid passes with the pressure, this particular C shape it will try to elongate. Okay, so to bring that to the position, this adjustable link is provided. So I can show the diagram here. So initially it will be like C shape. When the liquid passes through, it will tend to make a shape like this. Okay, in order to keep it in a particular position, this adjustable link is provided. Okay, so this is the adjustable link. As the liquid passes through here, you can see due to this movement of the adjustable link, the pinion is going to change. Okay, it is going to change its direction. Due to that, what happens, the needle it is going to show the reading on the scale which is provided here. Okay, so before allowing the liquid, the needle will be at the 0 reading. Okay, as the liquid passes, this particular needle it will start deflecting on the surface of the scale, and finally you are going to note down what is the reading. This is how the Burden's tube pressure gauge works. Next, let us discuss about a diaphragm pressure gauge. So understood, my dear students? Understood? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Or you want me to explain once again? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us discuss about a diaphragm pressure gauge. So the representation, the schematic representation of a Burden's tube pressure gauge and the diaphragm pressure gauge is somewhat similar. But here thing is that in Burden's tube pressure gauge there was a tube like this. Okay. But here it consists of a sheet. So this is nothing but the sector. So same as a socket, a same sector is provided, which is provided means of a socket like this. I'm going to draw the diagram. So this is nothing but the socket through which the liquid is made to pass. So over that a thin metallic sheet is provided here. Okay, so this sheet is completely joined here. So this is the thin metallic sheet. So as the liquid flows here, so this thin metallic sheet act as an elastic membrane. Okay, so when the liquid hits this surface, this particular pressure exerted by this elastic membrane is transferred to this. This is nothing but the thin metallic sheet which act as an elastic membrane. As and when the water passes through this section, so it is going to hit this sheet. As it hits the sheet, this particular rack and pinion arrangement, it is going to deflect. Okay, so simultaneously the pinion is connected to a needle, and this is nothing but the graduation scale. Okay, so this is the graduation scale. So before allowing the liquid, the level, the reading of this particular diaphragm pressure gauge will be 0. Okay, as and when the liquid hits this particular elastic membrane, so it is transferred to this particular joint and it is going to deflect. The needle is going to deflect, by which you can read the readings. Okay, so here the readings will be 5, 10, 15, 20 and so on. Okay, so by this you will come to know what is the reading, what is the pressure of the liquid. And this is the next type, so which is called as a billows pressure gauge. So billows pressure gauge is somewhat different. So here you can see these are the pre-compressing springs. So this is particular rectangular frame. Inside this rectangular frame, here you can see pre-compressing springs are provided. To this springs, a pivot and a pointer or a needle arrangement is made. And these are nothing but the series of billows which are provided. Okay, so here what happens, as soon as the liquid hits this surface, when the liquid passes through this surface, so same as that of a diaphragm, so here a thin metallic sheet is provided. As the liquid passes through this particular opening, it is going to hit the surface. The liquid hit the surface, these billows it is going to compress. Okay, so these are nothing but the billows which are provided like this, and this is the diaphragm. So this diaphragm is made up of a metallic sheet. When the liquid hits this surface, the pressure is exerted on this billows. Okay, when the liquid hits, as the pressure increases, this billows they are going to contract. Okay, so this is nothing but billows and they are going to contract. As they contract, this particular pointer it is going to deflect on the scale, and this is nothing but the compressing spring which allows the compression and expansion of this particular medium. Okay, as the liquid, the pressure of the liquid reduces, the pointer will come to its initial position, that is nothing but 0. So as and when the liquid hits the surface, the liquid hits this billows, it is going to compress. Okay, so here the compression and expansion of this particular spring and billows will takes place. Okay, so as the liquid hits, the billows are going to compress. Simultaneously, as this particular portion compresses, the spring is going to elongate. Okay, so due to that, you can see here the reading of that particular pressure exerted by the liquid on the surface. So this is the third equipment by which we can identify the pressure exerted by the liquid. Next, this is the last one, which is called as a dead weight pressure gauge. So in case of a dead weight pressure gauge, it consists of a two ends. So this is the first and this is the second end. So here, suppose if you wanted to identify the pressure of any liquid. So here, for an example, we have taken a oil reservoir. So if you wanted to identify the pressure of the oil, then you have to apply the load here. So it will be like this. So here two ends will be there. So one end is usually provided to apply the load and another end is connected to a gauge reading. Okay, so here what happens, this particular portion is the liquid. For example, I have taken a oil. Okay, so I have filled this particular medium with the oil and I'm going to apply the load here. So as and when I apply the load, so the pressure is going to be exerted on this particular liquid. Okay, so one end is connected to a pressure measuring device, pressure gauge, Another end is connected to a load. That is nothing but we are going to apply the weight here. Okay, so this is nothing but the liquid. So for example, if I wanted to identify the pressure of the oil, then I am going to add some weight here. Initially some 10 kg, 25 kg, after 50 kg, then 100, so on. I am going to apply the load. That is nothing but weight I am going to apply at a particular position. So when you are going to apply 10 kg here, so here the pointer is going to deflect because the pressure is exerted by the oil here and it is transferred to this gauge. Okay, simultaneously when you are going to apply 25 kg, again the pointer is going to deflect. Simultaneously 50 kg. After that, say for example 75 kg of a load you have applied. So there is a certain limit. After that limit, there is no change in pressure takes place. When you are going to apply 100 or a 120 or a 125 kg of weight, there is no change in the pressure. So that pressure is taken as the pressure of the oil. Okay, so here the pressure is going to be identified, that is in case of a dead weight mechanism, the pressure is identified by taking the equation force divided by area. So where the force is applied in terms of a kg, that is nothing but I have taken it as a W, and the area of the tube. So this particular tube will be in the circular direction. So therefore area will be pi by 4 into d square. Into d square. So this is how we are going to identify the pressure. That pressure is indicated on the scale which is provided here. So here in this case, so this is nothing but a small piston. Piston arrangement is made at the one end and a gauge under test. A gauge is provided at the other end. This is the particular position where you are going to fill the liquid. Suppose if I am going to add some other liquid like water. So you can fill this water and you are going to close this wall. Next, at this particular end, you are going to apply the load. That is nothing but a W. W is nothing but it is the weight which is applied here. As and when you are going to increase the weight, the pressure is going to be exerted on the liquid which is present here. Okay, I have taken a liquid as a water. So the pressure is going to be exerted on the water. Simultaneously, this pressure it is going to transfer and it is going to hit this surface. The pressure is going to transfer in this manner and that change in pressure is identified on this gauge which is provided at the other end. So this is how these particular equipments are going to work. So first one is the Burden's tube pressure gauge. Second one is diaphragm pressure gauge. Third one is Bellows pressure gauge. And this is dead weight pressure gauge. So these are the four different types of mechanical gauges. Understood, my dear students?
Yes, ma'am.
My voice is audible
Yes,
or
ma'am.
not?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
is there any doubts in this gauges?
No, ma'am.
Did you understood the working procedure of these gauges?
Yes,
Yes or
ma'am.
no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now here I'm going to show you how it is exactly going to work. So this is the animation of a Burden's tube pressure gauge. Is the screen visible to you all?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just to go through it, it is an animation.
Yes, ma'am.
Voice is audible.
Yes,
Is the
ma'am.
voice? Voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
If you are new to AT2W, click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notification to get all the updates from our channel. Working principle of burden tube pressure gauge. When an elastic transducer, such as burden tube in this case, is subjected to a pressure, it deflects. This deflection is proportional to the applied pressure when calibrated. Construction. A C-type burden tube consists of a long, thin-walled cylinder of non-circular cross-section, which is sealed at one end. This tube is made from materials such as phosphor bronze, steel, and beryllium copper, and attached by a light mechanism which operates the pointer. The other end of the tube is fixed and is open for the application of the pressure, which is to be measured. The tube is soldered or welded to a socket at the base, through which the fluid, whose pressure is to be measured, enters the C-type burden tube. Working a burden tube pressure gauge. As the fluid under pressure enters the burden tube, it tries to change the cross-section of the tube from oval to circular, and this tends to straighten out the tube. The tip of the burden tube is connected to a segmental lever through an adjustable link. The segmental lever end on the segment side is provided with a rack which meshes to a suitable pinion mounted on a spindle. The segmental lever is suitably pivoted and the spindle holds the pointer. The resulting movement of the free end of the tube causes the pointer to move over the scale. In real-life application, the pressure gauges are mounted with cyclone tube. Cyclone tube is a simple device used to protect a pressure sensor from high-temperature media, such as steam. It can also be used to reduce potentially damaging effects of rapid pressure changes. When first installed, the cyclone should be filled with water or some other suitable separated medium. This medium continuously remains in contact with the burden tube. Burden tubes are generally made in three shapes: C-type, helical type, and spiral type. Advantages of burden tube pressure gauges. 1. These burden tube pressure gauges give accurate results. 2. The cost of burden tube pressure gauges is low. 3. Burden tube are simple in construction. 4. They can be modified to give electrical outputs. 5. They are safe even for high pressure measurement. 6. Accuracy is high, especially at high pressures. Disadvantages of burden tube pressure gauges. 1. They respond slowly to changes in pressure. 2. They are subjected to hysteresis. 3. They are sensitive to shocks and vibrations. 4. Amplification is a must, as the displacement of the free end of the burden tube is lower. 5. It cannot be used for precision measurement. If you want.
So this was regarding the diaphragm pressure gauge. And
Autocollimator. An autocollimator is an optical instrument. It is a non-contact type instrument, which is used for measuring angles. And
gauge. So this is the diaphragm pressure gauge. So this is how it is going to work. So this is nothing but a small diaphragm which is provided here, and that is the tube pressure gauge. The liquid is going to pass through that. But here, liquid is not going to pass. It is just going to the surface of the diaphragm. As it hits the surface of the diaphragm, so here you can see the pointer is going to deflect like this. So the liquid is going to hit. As the liquid is going to hit, this particular pointer is going to deflect, and by that you will come to know what is the pressure of the liquid. So this was regarding the diaphragm pressure gauge, and let me tell about the bellows pressure gauge. So this is how the bellows pressure gauge is going to work. So this is the inlet where the liquid is going to pass, and these are the springs which are provided, and this is the
calibrated in terms of pressure. In this media, you will learn about the measurement of pressure using below gauge. The device consists of the following parts. Inlet A, where the unknown pressure is applied. Below spring rod, brass or phosphor guns. Spring arrangement. Connecting link. Sector and gear arrangement. Pointer needle. Graduated scale calibrated in terms of pressure. Eyes. The pillars are in the shape of an angular ring which are belted both internally and externally. The pillars contract or expand axially depending on the incoming pressures. The expansion of the pillars are restricted by the spring and thereby preventing the full expansion of the pillars. Extend the life of the pillars and protects it. Pillar openings should be hermetically sealed such that there is no leakage of pressure. Let us see the operating principle of below gauge. The unknown pressure to be measured is applied at the inlet scale. When the applied pressure is low or high, the pillars will squeeze or expand. This moves the link up or down, which is connected to the sector arrangement. The sector arrangement will now react to the movement of the link and the pointer moves over the graduated scale. The readings on the graduated scale indicates the pressure value. When the pressure is removed from the case, Case 1, when P1 less than P2. In this case, the pillars will squeeze or contract. When the pillars squeeze, the connecting link is moved up. This pushes the sector down and the pointer moves over the graduated scale. Case 2, when P1 less than P2. Under this condition, the pillars tries to expand. When the pillars are expanded, the connecting link is moved down. This pushes the sector arrangement up and the pointer moves over the graduated scale. Below gauge can also be used as an electrical switch. Below gauge is connected to any electrical circuit. When the inlet A is applied with low pressure, the pillars start squeezing and thereby disconnecting the contact with the circuit. Thus, you have learnt about the below gauge.
So that was regarding the below gauge, and this is the dead weight pressure gauge. So those are nothing but the screws which are adjusted. So this is nothing but the gauge which is fixed at the other end. It was like this. So this is nothing but the gauge, and this is nothing but the load where you are going to apply the load. So this is how we are going to fix the gauge. So those are nothing but the graduations. So whenever any mechanical gauge, if it was not working or no pressure is applied, then the pointer should lie at the 0 reading. So now here you can see no pressure is applied, therefore the needle is at 0 reading. Now the load is going to be applied here. So when you apply the load, you are going to close the valve. So the air which is present there, it is removed off. So slightly close the valve.